There comes a point in every journey when it seems like nothing is working. You've prayed, believed, visualized, and still no sign. But listen carefully. Everything is coming together for you, even now. The delays, detours, and disappointments are not denials. They are divine rearrangements. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. In the unseen realm, forces are moving, threads are weaving, and pathways are forming in your favor. The universe is orchestrating a symphony you cannot yet hear. Just because your physical eyes see no change does not mean nothing is happening. What you cannot see is often more powerful than what you can. There is a sacred law. What you hold in your inner world must eventually manifest in your outer one. The seed planted in faith cannot die. It must grow when nurtured by persistence. Your imagination is the workshop of creation. Every image you hold in your mind with feeling and belief is forming substance in the invisible. When you imagine yourself already successful, already healed, already at peace, something within you shifts. That shift is not make-believe, it is creation in motion. You become magnetized to that reality, and that reality becomes magnetized to you. The unseen begins to shape itself into form. Do not be deceived by appearances. Many give up because they believe the silence means rejection. But the silence is not rejection, it's preparation. The universe takes time to align every detail so that when the blessing comes, it fits perfectly, effortlessly. Your role is not to rush it, but to remain faithful to your inner conviction. When everything seems darkest, when doubt whispers that it's useless to go on, that's the moment to stand firm, because the night always turns into morning, and you are closer than you think. The energy of faith is cumulative. Every act of belief adds momentum to your unfolding miracle. Keep affirming. It's already done. My path is clear. Everything is coming together for my good. Speak it, even when nothing supports it. Feel it, even when you see no sign of it, because your feeling is the evidence of the unseen. Remember this, it's easy to believe when things look good, but true power is believing when nothing looks possible. That's when creation happens. That's when the invisible becomes visible. That's when you prove the divine power within you. So, don't give up. Don't surrender your vision to temporary conditions. The waiting is not wasted. It's the womb of your next miracle. Keep imagining, keep believing, keep moving forward with quiet confidence. Because one day soon you'll look back and realize every delay, every tear, every test was necessary to bring you here, to the fulfillment of everything you once imagined. Everything is coming together for you. Don't give up, just keep going. Everything begins in the unseen. Long before a flower blooms, the seed rests quietly beneath the surface, hidden from sight, yet filled with purpose. The same is true for your desires. What you long for, peace, success, healing, love, abundance, already exists in the invisible realm, waiting for you to recognize it as yours. The moment you believe and feel it as real within, you activate the divine power that transforms the unseen into the seen. Nothing ever appears in your outer life that was not first accepted in your inner world. You may not realize it, but every thought, every feeling, every assumption you hold is creative. The mind is not a passive observer. It is a spiritual workshop where reality is shaped. When you close your eyes and imagine a life of fulfillment, and when that vision feels natural to you, you are doing the most powerful work there is. You are not daydreaming. You are constructing. You are setting in motion an unseen chain of events that will ultimately rearrange circumstances to match what you have already accepted within. The invisible realm is more real than the visible, for it is the source from which all things arise. Every great invention, every piece of art, every world-changing idea began first as an image in the unseen. The same divine process works in your life. When you choose to believe that your desire already exists, when you feel the joy of its fulfillment in your heart, you are aligning yourself, the energy of creation itself. The outer world cannot resist this alignment for long. It must eventually reflect what you persistently hold as true. The key is faith, not as blind hope, but as inner knowing. Faith is the quiet confidence that even though you cannot yet see it, the reality you've claimed is already complete in spirit. You don't need to strive or struggle. You only need to remain faithful to that inner picture. The more you revisit it, feel it, and dwell in it, the stronger its pull becomes. Life begins to rearrange itself. People appear, opportunities arise, and doors open seemingly by coincidence. But nothing is accidental. You have called it forth by the creative power of your belief. Never be deceived by appearances. The invisible comes first, and the visible merely follows. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust the process. Likewise, trust that your unseen creation is unfolding perfectly. Hold to the feeling of already having it, and your faith will translate the unseen into form. You are not waiting for creation to happen, you are living within it now. Every fulfilled desire begins as an inner conviction. When you believe and feel as though it is already yours, the universe cannot help but mirror that truth back to you. What you desire is not far away. It is already formed, awaiting your recognition. Creation begins in the invisible, and once you accept that, you become the conscious author of your destiny. Delay is never denial. What looks like nothing happening is often everything happening behind the scenes. Life has its own rhythm, a divine timing that cannot be rushed or delayed. When you feel stuck or uncertain, when doors seem closed or paths unclear, understand that you are not being punished, you are being prepared. What feels like a pause is really a process. The universe is rearranging people, events, and circumstances to align perfectly with the outcome you've envisioned. Every dream has a gestation period. Just as nature requires time to turn a seed into a tree, your desires need time to take root and mature. You cannot force a flower to bloom before its season, and you cannot rush divine timing. When you believe something isn't working because you cannot see movement, you misunderstand how creation operates. The invisible work must always come first. The delay is a sacred part of the unfolding. It ensures that when your desire manifests, it will arrive in wholeness, not in fragments. When you begin to live from faith instead of frustration, you start to see the beauty of divine timing. What looks like stagnation is often alignment, pieces being placed in the right order, opportunities being prepared, and people being guided to cross your path. The universe operates with precision. Nothing is random. The timing that seems late is often the timing that saves you from mistakes, teaches you deeper trust, and prepares you to handle the blessing when it arrives. If everything came instantly, you would never develop patience, wisdom, or gratitude. The waiting season refines you. It strengthens your faith and clears away resistance. Many times the universe delays what you ask for because it wants to give you more than what you imagined. While you think nothing is happening, everything is being arranged for your ultimate good. The very obstacles that seem to stand in your way are often guiding you toward a greater path than the one you originally planned. You must learn to trust the divine sequence. When your heart says yes, but life says wait, hold on to your vision. Keep your inner faith alive, even when the outer world gives you no evidence. The moment you begin to doubt, remind yourself, what's meant for you cannot miss you. Every delay carries divine intelligence. It's not the universe saying no, it's saying not yet. And when not yet becomes now, it will make perfect sense. Do not measure progress by sight alone. The unseen alignment is working with precision beyond your understanding. The job, the opportunity, the relationship, the dream, it's all in motion, moving toward you even as you wait. You are not forgotten, you are being positioned. Keep believing, keep trusting, and keep preparing as though it's already done. Because one day, the doors will open effortlessly, and you'll realize that every delay was a setup for perfect timing. The universe never denies. Persistence is the invisible bridge that connects what you desire to what you eventually experience. Every dream, every goal, every manifestation passes through the corridor of persistence before it becomes reality. Many begin with passion and enthusiasm, but only those who persist, those who hold the vision in the face of delay, doubt, and disappointment, reach the fulfillment of what they imagine. The journey between desire and manifestation is not about struggle, but about steadfast faith. It is about standing firm in your inner conviction, even when the outer world gives you no reason to believe. When you persist in faith, you declare that your inner reality is more powerful than external circumstances. You may not yet see the results, but you continue to feel and live as though the promise is already fulfilled. That unwavering state of belief creates a magnetic force that draws your vision into form. The universe responds not to fleeting wishes, but to consistent conviction. Persistence tells creation, I already know this is mine, and the unseen forces align accordingly. Most people give up not because their dream was impossible, but because they surrendered to appearances. They look at the lack, the delay, the difficulty, and assume it means failure. But appearances are only the temporary shadows of your old thoughts. When you persist in a new state of belief long enough, those shadows dissolve and a new reality emerges. Every great creator understands this. What you assume to be true and persist in as though it were already done must harden into fact. Persistence is not forcing or begging, it is quiet confidence. It is the calm assurance that comes from knowing the law of creation cannot fail. You may fall, you may grow weary, but you return to the feeling of fulfillment again and again until it becomes natural. You persist in thought until it becomes your automatic state. And once the mind accepts it as normal, life reflects it as fact. Every obstacle you face tests your persistence. Every delay whispers, do you still believe? And your answer must always be yes. Keep imagining. Keep affirming. Keep walking by faith and not by sight. The universe rewards those who refuse to let temporary appearances dictate their truth. The more you persist, the more powerful your belief becomes, and the stronger the bridge between desire and manifestation grows. Persistence is not about time, it's about depth. It's about how deeply you've accepted your vision as already real. The person who persists without wavering steps directly into the reality they once imagined. So do not be discouraged by how long it takes. Stay faithful to your inner vision, because once your inner world is consistent, the outer must conform. Those who persist in faith, regardless of appearances, always walk straight into the world they've imagined. Assume the feeling of fulfillment, and you begin to live from the end rather than toward it. To assume is to accept inwardly that what you desire is already yours, that it has already happened in the unseen realm. This is not pretending or wishful thinking, it is a shift in consciousness. The moment you feel the reality of your desire, you awaken the creative power within that draws circumstances, people, and opportunities into harmony with that state. Your inner world becomes the blueprint that the outer world must eventually follow. Most people live in a constant state of wanting. They speak, think, and feel from lack, hoping for change, but never assuming the change has already occurred. Yet the law of creation works through assumption. What you feel yourself to be determines what you will experience. If you feel poor, you continue to attract lack. If you feel unloved, you continue to attract rejection. But the instant you assume the feeling of already having your desire, wealth, love, success, peace, you activate the unseen forces that transform your world to match that vibration. Feeling is the secret key. Words alone do not create, emotion does. When your imagination and feeling become one, you move creation from potential to reality. Close your eyes and live inwardly as though your dream were already fulfilled. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude of it is done. Dwell in that emotion until it feels natural, until you no longer crave it because you have already become it in consciousness. The universe does not respond to words. It responds to states of being. When you assume the feeling of fulfillment, you are no longer chasing your desire, you are radiating it. The world reflects back what you are, not what you wish for. Every time you return to that inner state, you strengthen its magnetic pull. Outer circumstances begin to shift subtly at first, then dramatically, as everything reorganizes itself to match the frequency you are emitting. What once seemed impossible begins to flow effortlessly, because your assumption has become your reality. Doubt will try to invade your mind. Appearances will tempt you to revert to old feelings of lack or worry. But the key is persistence in your assumption. Return to the feeling of fulfillment again and again until it dominates your awareness. Even if nothing seems to change, keep living from the end. The unseen realm responds to consistency. Your sustained assumption becomes the command that the universe must obey. This is the art of conscious creation. To dwell in the state of already having, to feel the victory before the battle, to embody the answered prayer before it appears. Once your inner world accepts it as truth, your outer world cannot resist reflecting it. Live inwardly as though the dream has already come true, and soon what was once invisible will stand before you as undeniable reality. The middle is the hardest, but also the holiest. It's the space between believing and receiving, the stretch between the promise and its fulfillment. It's where doubt whispers loudest, where patience is tested, and where faith must stand alone. Yet even though it feels like nothing is happening, everything is happening. The invisible construction site of your destiny is alive and active, arranging every piece of your future with divine precision. You cannot yet see the blueprint, but heaven is building in silence. The middle feels hard because it asks you to trust without proof. It asks you to walk by faith when sight gives you no encouragement. This is where many give up, not because the dream was impossible, but because the silence convinced them it was over. But silence is not absence. Stillness is not stagnation. When life seems quiet and motionless, it's often when divine movement is at its peak. The unseen world is busy aligning every detail, every person, and every opportunity required for your manifestation. In this sacred in-between, your inner state matters most. You are being refined, strengthened, and prepared for what you've asked for. The middle is not punishment, it's preparation. You're being molded into the version of yourself capable of holding the blessing. What you call delay is actually transformation. The universe is making sure that when the door opens, you're ready to walk through it with wisdom, gratitude, and strength. Every masterpiece requires time to take form. The builder doesn't panic when the foundation is being laid, even though there's nothing beautiful to see yet. The same is true for your life. The groundwork of your destiny is being set beneath the surface. The waiting season is where your faith becomes real. It's where belief evolves from theory to truth. The middle teaches you how to stand on unseen ground and trust that what you planted in faith will bloom in divine timing. In these moments, resist the urge to complain or despair. Instead, become still and remind yourself something sacred is happening behind the scenes. Your prayers were heard the first time you spoke them. The answer is unfolding in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Every silence is filled with divine activity. Every pause has purpose. So hold steady. Keep your heart fixed on the vision even when nothing seems to support it. Keep speaking life, keep imagining, keep thanking as if it were already done. The middle may feel like the hardest part of the journey, but it's also the holiest. It's where faith matures, where patience deepens, and where you are quietly shaped into the vessel that can carry your miracle. One day, you look back and realize that the middle wasn't a delay, it was the place where the invisible became visible. Your faith is the architect of your reality. Every thought you hold as true, every belief you nurture within, becomes a line drawn on the blueprint of your life. Faith is the silent designer behind every visible outcome. It builds, shapes, and constructs the world you live in, brick by brick, moment by moment. You may not realize it, but your outer world is always mirroring your inner conviction. What you accept as true, whether good or bad, becomes your experience. Life does not respond to chance. It responds to belief. Faith is not something you try to have, it's something you embody. It is the unwavering trust that what you have envisioned is already complete, even before your senses can confirm it. When you believe deeply enough, the unseen begins to solidify into form. Every time you choose faith over fear, you rewrite your destiny. Fear builds walls, but faith builds bridges. Fear limits, faith expands. Fear sees lack, faith sees completion. And the one you entertain the longest becomes the foundation of your reality. When you believe that you are guided, provided for, and supported by divine intelligence, life starts to move in harmony with that truth. Opportunities appear, people arrive, and doors open not because of luck, but because your faith created the pathway for them. The moment you accept something as true within, you instruct the universe to rearrange itself to make it visible without. You become the architect and the builder of your own destiny. There will always be moments when appearances contradict your belief. You may face delays, setbacks, or silence. But that's where true faith is tested and strengthened. Faith does not depend on sight, it thrives in the unseen. It remains steady when the evidence says otherwise. To keep believing in the face of doubt is to hold the line of creation. It is to say, I know what I have accepted as true, and I will not be moved. That persistence in conviction bends reality to your will. You must understand that life mirrors your inner dialogue. If you constantly affirm fear, limitation, or defeat, you draw more of the same. But if you affirm victory, abundance, and peace, even when circumstances deny it, you are sketching a new design for your life. Every act of belief, every moment of inner certainty adds another stroke to the divine blueprint. Eventually, what you've drawn in faith will be built in experience. Eventually, what you've drawn in faith will be built in experience. So guard your thoughts and nurture your belief. Choose to see beyond appearances. Keep believing, even when logic fails you. The unseen is always stronger than the seen, and faith will always outlast fear. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are the architect of them. Stand firm in your conviction, knowing that what you believe becomes what you build. Faith is the hand that drafts the plan, and life itself is the structure that rises to match it. In the end, everything you've ever desired, prayed for, or imagined is already in motion. The unseen world is working tirelessly on your behalf, aligning every detail to fulfill the vision you've held within. Every delay has purpose. Every challenge refines you, and every silent season builds your strength. Nothing has been wasted. The dream you've been nurturing in faith is not in vain. It's being constructed in the invisible, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal itself. So keep believing, keep imagining, and keep moving forward with quiet confidence. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. You are not behind. You are right on schedule. Creation began the moment you believed, and it continues to unfold through your persistence and unwavering faith. The universe responds to conviction, not confusion, to faith, not fear. Walk as though it's already done, speak as though it's already yours, feel as though it's already complete, because in truth, it is. The bridge between where you are and where you're going is built on trust. And as you hold fast to that faith, life will mirror your belief with beauty, abundance, and divine perfection. Everything is coming together for you. Stay patient, stay faithful, and never give up, because what's meant for you cannot miss you. Thank you for listening, and remember, your faith is the key. Your imagination is the blueprint, and your persistence is the power that makes all things possible. Keep going. Your miracle is already on its way. If you have arrived at this moment, if these words have reached you, it is not an accident. Life is not random, and God does not deal in coincidences. When you are guided to something at the exact time you need it, it is because movement is happening in the unseen. Something is stirring, something is shifting, something is aligning for you. You may not see the full picture yet. You may still be surrounded by situations that look unchanged. But listen closely. The invisible always shifts before the visible. What you are feeling right now, the inner pull, the quiet reassurance, the subtle sense that something is coming, is the proof. God moves first in the silence of your inner world before revealing anything in your outer world. When life gets heavy, when the waiting feels endless, when the battle seems unfair, it's easy to believe nothing is changing. But the truth is this: your persistence is creating the very change you long to see. Every time you choose faith over fear, you are rewriting the script of your life. Every time you entertain a higher thought, a better vision, a bold assumption of what can be, you are stepping into alignment with the reality that is already yours in the spiritual realm. Do not underestimate the power of what you imagine. Your inner world is not a place of fantasy. It is where creation begins. Whatever you accept as true within, whatever you feel deeply, whatever you boldly claim in your heart, that becomes the seed God waters. And even when the soil of your life looks dry, even when nothing seems to be sprouting, the roots are growing beneath the surface. You are closer than you think. Sometimes the greatest movement happens during the seasons that feel the most still. Sometimes the loudest answer is given through silence. Sometimes the biggest breakthrough comes disguised as disappointment. But every moment is purposeful. Every setback contains a setup. Every closed door redirects you to something higher. And right now, even if you cannot see it, God is guiding the pieces of your life into place. He is softening hearts, opening paths, shifting circumstances, and preparing opportunities you couldn't have arranged on your own. The things that feel delayed are not denied, they are being perfected. So don't give up. Do not surrender your vision just because it hasn't appeared yet. Do not abandon your faith because the evidence is still invisible. What you are carrying within you is more real than what you are seeing around you. Your assumption of victory, healing, abundance, reconciliation, or breakthrough is the signal to the universe that you are ready. Keep holding the feeling of what you want. Keep walking as if it's already done. Keep believing the whisper inside you more than the noise around you. This is the moment that separates those who receive from those who retreat. Your current challenges are not signs of failure, punishment, or abandonment. They are evidence that something greater is being formed within you. Every difficult season contains a hidden invitation to rise into a stronger, clearer, more powerful version of yourself. When life feels heavy, when obstacles appear out of nowhere, when circumstances stretch your patience and test your faith, it's not because you are breaking down, it's because you are breaking open. You are being shaped for something you cannot yet see. And the pressure you are feeling is the pressure of transformation. Think about how gold is refined. It is placed in fire not to destroy it, but to reveal its purity. Seeds must break underground before they can reach sunlight. Even the child in the womb experiences the tightest pressure right before entering a new world. Creation always requires discomfort. Growth always requires stretching. And every challenge that confronts you right now is doing more than simply presenting a problem. It is preparing your spirit for expansion. You may feel tired, overwhelmed, or uncertain, but beneath that surface emotion, strength is being built. When you choose to keep going, even when everything in you wants to stop, resilience is being formed. When you decide to believe that something good can still come out of this, clarity is being formed. When you persist, even in the midst of doubt, The foundation of your inner world is being rebuilt with deeper faith. These moments of pressure are forging qualities you will need for the blessing that is already on its way to you. It is easy to trust when life is smooth. It is easy to believe when doors open effortlessly. But it is in the challenging seasons that your spiritual muscles develop. These are the moments when you learn to listen inwardly instead of reacting to appearances. This is when you discover that your imagination is more powerful than your environment. This is when you begin to understand that you can choose your inner state even when your outer world feels chaotic. The challenge is not there to defeat you. It is there to strengthen the part of you that must rise to meet the future you are calling in. What feels like delay may actually be preparation. What feels like loss may be clearing space for something better. What feels like confusion may be redirecting your path. There is always more happening than you can see, and the very fact that you are still standing, still hoping, still searching is evidence that the greater version of you is emerging. You are not the same person you were before these challenges began. You are wiser now, you are more aware, you are more resilient. Something inside you is awakening. Do not measure your life by the difficulty of this moment. Measure it by the strength it is producing in you. Because once the challenge has passed, and it will, you will realize that the very pressure that made you uncomfortable was the force that elevated you. Something greater is being formed within you, and this season is simply shaping you for what you were always meant to receive. What you assume and feel as true begins shaping the circumstances around you, whether you are aware of it or not. Your inner state is continuously broadcasting a silent signal into your life, and the world responds to that signal with remarkable precision. Long before anything appears in physical form, it exists as a feeling, an assumption, a conviction held within your imagination. This inner belief becomes the blueprint your outer world follows. Life mirrors what you consistently accept as real, even when the evidence hasn't yet shown itself. Every transformation you've ever experienced began as a quiet shift inside you. Perhaps it was a sudden surge of confidence, a new expectation, a change in self-perception. Or maybe it was a subtle feeling that you deserved better, that something new was possible, that you no longer had to settle. The moment your inner world shifted, your outer world eventually followed. This is because your assumptions form the foundation of your reality. They are the roots that determine the fruit. When you assume something with conviction, when you feel it deeply as if it is already yours, you invite its manifestation. The feeling of having something precedes the having of it. And this is why your emotions are not random, they are creative forces. Feeling is the language of the inner world. Whatever you persistently feel, you call into your experience. Positive or negative, hopeful or doubtful, empowering or limiting. Your inner state is always constructing something. This is why two people can face the same situation and experience entirely different outcomes. One assumes defeat and sees obstacles everywhere. The other assumes possibility and finds opportunities where none seem to exist. It is not the situation that defines them, but the belief they bring to it. The world bends to the assumptions that dominate your consciousness. If you continually assume that life is difficult, that nothing works out for you, that people can't be trusted, that you are stuck, then your reality will confirm those expectations, not because life is cruel, but because your inner state is instructing the world how to treat you. Conversely, if you assume that your desires are valid, that your path is guided, that solutions are always available, and that you're worthy of good things, your circumstances begin shifting to reflect those truths. The key is persistence. A single hopeful thought is not enough. You must dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must rehearse the reality you want to experience until it becomes natural to you. When your assumption feels normal, when the vision of what you desire feels familiar, life has no choice but to deliver it. This inner work is not about forcing anything, it is about aligning yourself with the version of you who already has what you seek. When you embody that feeling, you begin speaking differently, moving differently, expecting differently, and very soon your environment reshapes itself around your new inner state. Everything begins within you. Change your assumption, and you change the path of your life. Inner conviction is always followed by outer confirmation. Your faith is planting unseen seeds long before anything appears in your physical reality. Every time you choose to believe in the possibility of something greater, even without evidence, you are sowing spiritual seeds that will eventually manifest in ways you can see, touch, and experience. Faith is not passive. It is not simply wishing or hoping. It is the inner knowing, the deep acceptance that what you desire is already yours in essence. And this inner knowing activates forces far beyond what your eyes can perceive. When you hold a conviction with sincerity and persistence, you set a process in motion. You begin to act differently, think differently, speak differently, and carry yourself with a quiet confidence. This subtle shift influences every interaction, every decision, every response. And because your inner world is the root of all outer conditions, the conviction you carry becomes the instruction for your life to follow. Your world must eventually rearrange itself to match the truth you have accepted within. The seeds of faith are planted in silence. They are planted when you choose belief over fear. They are planted when you imagine a better outcome and feel it as real. They are planted when you persist in the face of doubt and refuse to let circumstances dictate your inner state. Just as a farmer covers his seeds under the soil and trusts the unseen process taking place beneath the surface, you must trust the unseen work happening in your life. You may not see immediate results, but growth is occurring in ways you cannot measure. Outer confirmation often comes slowly at first, appearing as small signs, unexpected opportunities, new connections, intuitive nudges, perfect timing moments, or subtle shifts in people and situations. These signs are not coincidences. They are sprouting seeds. They reveal that your inner conviction is taking form. What you hold in consciousness always seeks expression. And just like a seed, your faith contains within it the blueprint for the outcome you desire. But you must persist. The moment you let go of your conviction and fall into doubt, you uproot the seed before it has a chance to grow. Faith does not require you to see the full path. It only asks that you trust the next step. The process may involve delays, detours, or moments where nothing seems to be happening. But in truth, everything is happening. The unseen is organizing itself around your belief. Life is arranging opportunities and aligning circumstances in your favor. Your outer world will always reflect the state of your inner conviction. If your faith wavers, your results will waver. But when your conviction becomes unshakable, when you hold the feeling of your desire as if it has already been fulfilled, the universe cannot deny you. Outer confirmation becomes inevitable. So continue believing, continue imagining, continue assuming the best. Your faith is not wasted. Every thought you have lived in, every feeling you have nurtured, every vision you have claimed is forming roots. And soon, what was once invisible will be undeniable. Your conviction is guiding your reality, and the seeds you planted through faith are rising into sight. Every delay, detour, or disappointment is not a sign that your desire is being denied. It is part of the preparation for a breakthrough that is far greater than anything you could have orchestrated on your own. Life is always responding to the deepest intentions of your heart, but sometimes the path to fulfillment doesn't look the way your mind expects. When things slow down, when doors close, when plans collapse, it does not mean the universe has forgotten you. It means something is being rearranged, refined, or redirected so you can receive what truly aligns with your highest good. At the end of the day, good delays can feel discouraging, especially when you're eager for change. But a delay is often a divine adjustment. It protects you from stepping into something before you're ready. It shields you from opportunities that would have caused stress or struggle. It strengthens your patience, sharpens your discernment, and deepens your faith. A delay gives you time to grow into the version of yourself who can fully hold the blessing that is coming. What looks like waiting is often inner building. Detours are just as important. Sometimes you think you know the straightest path to your desire, only to be led in a direction that seems completely opposite. But a detour is not a mistake. It is an alternate route designed to bring you into contact with people, experiences, or lessons you need. It might introduce you to someone who becomes a key part of your journey. It might help you discover a skill or strength you didn't know you had. It might refine your vision, helping you realize what you truly want. A detour often leads to a destination far better than the one you originally aimed for. And then there are disappointments, those moments when your expectations collapse and your heart feels heavy. It's easy to interpret these moments as rejection, but often they are redirection in disguise. Something you thought was right for you may have only offered temporary fulfillment. Something you prayed to keep might have held you back from a greater purpose. Disappointment clears the path for clarity. It removes what cannot stay, so that something aligned can enter. The loss you feel today may be the very thing that frees you for tomorrow's blessing. When you step back and see the bigger picture, you'll notice that nothing in your life has been wasted. Not a moment, not a setback, not a closed door. Every twist, every pause, every unexpected shift has been preparing you for a breakthrough that matches your inner growth. The timing you thought was late will turn out to be perfect. The closed doors will reveal themselves as protection. The disappointments will become the turning points of your story. Breakthroughs rarely come when everything is going smoothly. They arrive after seasons of stretching, strengthening, and surrendering. They arrive when you've developed the resilience, wisdom, and clarity to handle what you once only hoped for. So trust the delays. Trust the detours, trust the disappointments. They are not working against you. They are shaping you, guiding you, and positioning you for the moment when everything comes together in a way that feels sudden, undeniable, and divinely orchestrated. Your imagination is the spiritual blueprint from which your new reality unfolds. Every vision you hold, every inner picture you consistently entertain becomes a silent instruction that shapes your future. Before anything manifests in your physical world, it must first exist within the realm of imagination. This inner world is not a place of fantasy or escape. It is the creative workshop of your life. It is where you design the experiences you will eventually walk into. The images you allow to dominate your mind become the seeds that life will eventually bring to fruition. When you imagine something vividly and feel it deeply, you activate the spiritual laws that govern creation. You bring yourself into alignment with the version of you who already possesses what you desire. Imagination allows you to step beyond present circumstances and connect with the reality you want to experience. It gives you access to states of being that transcend what your current environment suggests. Through imagination, you rehearse your future internally. And this internal rehearsal guides your actions, shapes your emotions, and influences the opportunities you attract. Most people use their imagination unconsciously, allowing fear, doubt, and worry to paint pictures of outcomes they never want to experience. Yet these images, if consistently entertained, can still manifest because imagination does not judge, it simply creates from what you feed it. This is why mastering your imagination is essential. You must become intentional with the visions you hold. You must choose images that reflect the life you wish to live, not the limitations you currently face. When your imagination is directed with purpose, the world around you begins to shift in response. Ideas start flowing, inspiration rises, people appear seemingly out of nowhere. Synchronicities happen. Your desires begin finding their way to you, not because of luck, but because your inner world has sent out a clear signal that the outer world begins to mirror. Imagination is the bridge between your spiritual identity and your physical experience. It is the tool through which unseen possibilities become visible realities. The beauty of imagination is that it is limitless. No matter your circumstances, you can envision something greater. Even when life feels restrictive, your imagination remains free. When your outer world feels stagnant, your inner world can remain vibrant and alive with possibility. And as you continue to nurture these inner pictures, they eventually override your previous assumptions. Suddenly, the vision feels real. It feels natural. It feels like something you were always meant to experience. Once the feeling of your imagined reality becomes familiar, the physical world begins rearranging itself to match it. Opportunities emerge, new paths open, solutions appear. This is not magic, it is alignment. You are simply stepping into the life you mentally rehearsed, the life you spiritually prepared for through imagination. So guard your imagination, use it intentionally. Let it paint pictures of abundance, healing, love, success, and purpose. Let it show you who you can become, not who you have been. Your imagination is the blueprint, the foundation, the silent architect of your destiny. And as you continue to give life to these inner images, your new reality will unfold with clarity, purpose, and divine precision. God moves quietly at first, then suddenly, all your quiet work within will soon manifest without. The greatest shifts in your life rarely announce themselves with noise or spectacle. They begin in the stillness of your inner world long before any visible change appears. This is how divine movement works: subtle, gentle, almost imperceptible, until the moment arrives when everything unfolds at once. What you have been nurturing in silence, your prayers, your affirmations, your assumptions, your inner healing, your intentional thoughts, has been gathering momentum beneath the surface. And just like a seed hidden underground, the first signs of growth are always invisible. When you do the inner work, you may feel like nothing is happening. You imagine the life you desire, you hold the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you persist in faith even when appearances contradict you. It can feel quiet, lonely, or slow, but that inner consistency is reshaping the spiritual pattern of your life. Every moment you choose a higher thought, every time you assume the best, every time you forgive, release, or rise above old patterns, you are creating a new energetic blueprint. The world cannot ignore this shift. It must respond, it must reflect what you have planted within. But because growth begins internally, your outer world often appears unchanged at first. This is the stage when many people give up. They assume their efforts aren't working, that their imagination is wasted, that their faith isn't producing results. Yet this quiet phase is the most powerful part of the process. It is where the unseen roots develop. It is where alignment is formed. It is where clarity strengthens. The silence is not absence, it is preparation. And then, just when you least expect it, the suddenly arrives, the opportunity appears, the relationship shifts, the door opens, the breakthrough comes. What once seemed far away becomes your new reality. What you imagined becomes tangible. What you held in consciousness becomes something you can finally see and touch. These sudden manifestations are never random. They are the flowering of everything you cultivated internally. The world sees the sudden moment, but God saw the quiet preparation. People will think your breakthrough came overnight, but you will know the truth. It was the result of countless moments when you chose faith over fear, persistence over doubt, vision over circumstance. Your inner work has created a foundation strong enough to support the blessings coming your way. So don't underestimate the quiet season you're in. It is not stagnant, it is sacred. It is where creation is most active. Keep imagining, keep aligning, keep believing, keep nurturing the vision that lives within you. What you do in silence is never wasted. Every thought, every assumption, every moment of inner conviction is shaping a future that will arrive with clarity and force. God moves quietly, then suddenly and soon, what you have been preparing for in secret will manifest openly in your life. The very things you held in your heart will stand before you, undeniable and beautifully real. Your inner work is working. Your suddenly is already on its way. In the end, everything you are walking through right now, every challenge, every shift, every quiet moment of faith, is shaping you for something far greater than you can imagine. What you are cultivating within is building the foundation for the life that is unfolding before you. Your inner conviction, your imagination, your persistence, and your belief are forming the bridge between where you are and where you are meant to be. Nothing you've endured has been wasted. Nothing you've hoped for has been ignored. And nothing you are believing for is beyond reach. You are being guided. You are being strengthened. You are being prepared. Trust the timing, embrace the process, and continue choosing faith over fear. Because the life you've envisioned in silence is already making its way into your reality. Your breakthrough is closer than it appears. Thank you for listening, thank you for believing, and thank you for allowing these words to become a part of your journey. There comes a moment in every life when the invisible world becomes louder than the visible. When something within you whispers, you were made for more than this moment. This whisper is not imagination in the ordinary sense. It is God revealing that He has already begun to move things in your favor. You may look at your life and say nothing seems to be changing. But hear this truth: God always moves in the unseen before he manifests in the seen. The shift you feel, the unrest, the desire, the vision, these are not accidents. They are divine signals announcing that something has already been released on your behalf. The world tells you to wait for proof, but God gives you a different kind of evidence. He gives you desire, and the desire is not a craving, it is confirmation. It is God's voice saying, "What you seek is already yours. Walk toward it." You are not waiting for the blessing. The blessing is waiting for you to align with it. Every time you imagine a better life, every time you rehearse a new version of yourself in your mind, you are shaping reality. Your imagination is not fantasy. It is the workshop of God. It is the place where unseen things begin to take form. Hearing, if only you knew what was happening behind the scenes on your behalf, you would never doubt again. When doors closed in your life, you assumed you were rejected. But heaven has no rejections, only redirections. What left you was never meant to carry you into your next chapter. God removed it because your destiny required it. And then, in moments you did not expect, help began to show up. A conversation, a connection, an opportunity, a shift in timing. None of it was random. It was divine choreography. God was placing people in the right positions, touching hearts, moving resources, softening circumstances, all for one purpose: your favor. Some of you have felt delayed, but delay is not divine punishment. Delay simply means God is arranging the stage so when the blessing arrives, nothing and no one can interfere with it. Timing is the final proof that God is involved. Look closely at your life today. You will see traces, evidence, fingerprints of a God who has been moving things long before you asked, long before you prayed, long before you even knew what you needed. Your desire, your vision, your inner shift, the closed doors, the unexpected help, all of it is proof. So lift your head, walk with confidence, step into your next season knowing this one truth: God is not preparing the blessing for you. He is preparing you for the blessing. And right now, in ways you cannot yet see, everything is moving in your favor. Your inner state is the quiet birthplace of every outer transformation that unfolds in your life. Long before you see the shift in your circumstances, long before opportunities appear, long before people step in to help you, something moves within you. This inward movement is not random. It is the first undeniable proof that God has already begun aligning external events in your favor. The world often insists that change begins from the outside, but the truth is the opposite. Everything in your life starts with a shift in consciousness. There are moments when you feel a new desire rising, almost out of nowhere. A longing for a better life, a clearer direction, a deeper sense of purpose. That desire is not simply emotional, it is divine communication. It is God awakening your spirit to something that is already prepared for you. The desire itself is evidence that the blessing exists. You could not want what was not already possible. You could not imagine what was not already forming in the unseen. Your inner state receives the signal first, long before your outer world catches up. When God begins moving things in your favor, He doesn't start by changing the circumstances around you. He starts by changing you. He strengthens your faith. He expands your vision. He awakens a sense of expectancy. This shift is gentle yet powerful. You begin to think differently, feel differently, walk differently. You notice that your old fears no longer hold the same weight. The limitations you once accepted no longer hold the same weight. The limitations you once accepted no longer hold the same weight. The limitations you once accepted no longer hold the same weight. The limitations you once accepted no longer hold the same weight. The limitations you once accepted no longer hold the same weight. The limitations you once accepted no longer hold the same weight. This is the moment where the miracle quietly begins. Your inner alignment becomes the magnet for divine orchestration. As your thoughts rise, so does your reality. As your state shifts, so do the events in your life. You start attracting opportunities that match your new inner condition. People appear who are aligned with your growth. Conversations open doors, resources come unexpectedly. This is not coincidence, it is spiritual law in motion. God works through your inner transformation to rearrange the outer world. Think of your inner state as the soil and God's promise as the seed. When the soil is ready, when you are aligned, receptive, expectant, the seed begins to grow. You may not see it at first. The growth happens underground, unseen, hidden. But the activity is real, and the proof is the subtle shift you feel in your spirit. Faith feels more natural. Hope feels more stable. Peace feels more accessible. That is the divine movement beginning to sprout. Every breakthrough in your life begins with an internal awakening. It is the moment you sense that life is about to change, even though nothing external has changed yet. This feeling is the spiritual confirmation that God has already gone before you. Your heart knows the blessing is on its way before your eyes do. So trust that internal shift. Believe the subtle whisper that says something good is coming. That whisper is not imagination. It is the announcement of divine alignment. When God is moving things in your favor, the first place you will see it is within you. The inner change is the evidence, the seed, the beginning of everything that will soon manifest in your world. What you consistently imagine becomes the silent architect of your future. Most people shrug off imagination as fantasy or wishful thinking, but imagination is far more sacred and far more powerful than that. It is the invisible workshop where God begins to shape the very path you will soon walk. Every image you hold, every scene you rehearse, every outcome you emotionally feel in your mind becomes a blueprint for your outer life. What you imagine is not a mere picture. It is a spiritual command, a signal that sets reality into motion. When you allow your mind to dwell deliberately on a desired end, you activate a divine partnership. God placed imagination within you not as a toy but as a tool. It is the mechanism through which spiritual intention becomes physical manifestation. The outer world is not the origin of your experiences. It is the reflection of the inner images you have nurtured and believed. Without realizing it, you are constantly shaping tomorrow by the visions you entertain today. This is why consistent imagination is so potent. One fleeting thought may pass without impact, but a scene revisited over and over again is like carving a path through dense forest. The more you walk it, the clearer and more inevitable it becomes. When you imagine something repeatedly, you are training your inner world to accept that outcome as real. And once your inner world accepts it, life begins rearranging itself to match your new mental reality. Imagination is not passive. It summons the right people, aligns the right timing, and attracts the right opportunities. It dissolves obstacles you didn't even know were in your way. It influences your behavior, your decisions, and your sense of expectation without your conscious effort. You begin walking differently, speaking differently, thinking differently, because your inner vision is already living in the future you desire. This inner alignment becomes the magnetic force that pulls the outer world into harmony with it. When you imagine consistently, you are not escaping reality, you are preparing it. You are rehearsing the world God is guiding you toward. You are stepping into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, knowing that the emotional experience is the bridge through which the unseen becomes seen. Emotions fuel imagination, and imagination fuels creation. The heart and mind together create a spiritual frequency that heaven responds to. Think of imagination as divine permission. If you can hold the image long enough, if you can feel its truth deeply enough, God begins to orchestrate circumstances to match the picture you've embraced. Conversations shift, doors open, directions change. Seemingly random events align perfectly, revealing that nothing was random at all. Your imagination was planting seeds and God was watering them in silence. Every great transformation begins as an unseen image. Every breakthrough is born in a quiet moment when you allow yourself to envision something greater, and every blessing that appears in your life begins first as a picture formed in the sanctuary of your mind. So guard your imagination, feed it with the life you want, not the life you fear. Embrace the truth that what you imagine consistently is already taking shape, already being built, already being prepared for you. Your imagination is not fantasy, it is the creative force through which God shapes your path and writes your destiny. There are moments in life when a door closes so suddenly, so unexpectedly, that it leaves you questioning everything. You may feel abandoned, overlooked, or pushed aside. But what appears as rejection from the outside is often divine orchestration from within. Closed doors are never God's way of saying, "You are not worthy." They are His way of saying, "This is not the path that leads to your destiny." When you see a door closed, it is not the path that leads to your destiny. When something leaves your life, whether it is a person, a job, an opportunity, or a dream you held tightly, it is not a sign of divine disfavor. It is evidence that you are being redirected towards something far better than what you were willing to settle for. Every closed door is a form of protection. You may not recognize it in the moment, but God sees the full picture, the intentions you couldn't see, the consequences you didn't foresee, the timing you didn't understand. You might view the door as a pathway to something good, while God knows that it would have led you into confusion, stagnation, or unnecessary pain. Sometimes He closes a door not to take something from you, but to take you away from something that would have hindered your growth or delayed your purpose. The truth is that we cling to what is familiar even when it no longer serves us. We hold on to relationships that have expired, environments that limit us, or opportunities that underpay our potential. And when God closes the door, we grieve because we focus on what we lost instead of what we're being led toward. But if you look closely, you will realize that every time A door closed in your life. Something greater eventually replaced it. Something that aligned better with your calling, your identity, your healing, and your future. Closed doors are also divine timing at work. What you think you want right now may not be what you are prepared to handle. God will not allow you to walk into a room you are not yet ready to manage. A delay is often a strategy. The door may open later, but at a moment when you are stronger, wiser, and more capable of holding the blessing without losing yourself in the process. The door that is closed today may become the door that saves you tomorrow. Sometimes the redirection is subtle. A plan falls apart, a conversation doesn't happen, something you expected doesn't come through. Other times it is dramatic. A relationship ends, a job disappears, a place you depended on becomes unavailable. Either way, the redirection is purposeful. God shifts things so that your life rises to match the future He has prepared for you. The door that closes is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of a new alignment. And if you pay attention, you will notice that closed doors often lead you to unexpected opportunities. What you thought was a setback becomes the turning point. What felt like loss becomes liberation. What seemed like rejection becomes redirection toward a blessing that carries more peace, more growth, more fulfillment, and more purpose. So when a door closes, don't mourn it as failure. Recognize it as divine movement. Trust that something is shifting in your favor, even when you cannot see it. What leaves your life is never meant to diminish you. It is meant to clear the path so you can walk boldly into the next chapter God has already prepared. There are seasons in your journey when help arrives from places you never expected, through people you barely knew, and in moments you didn't anticipate. This help is not accidental. It is not coincidence. It is a sign of invisible intervention, proof that God is working behind the scenes, aligning the right connections, and preparing the right circumstances for your elevation. When you begin to see unexpected support showing up in your life, understand this truth. You have entered a chapter where heaven is actively participating in your progress. Often you don't see the divine strategy until after the blessing unfolds. You think a person simply happened to cross your path or a door just happened to open at the right moment. But nothing is random when God is involved. Every connection has purpose. Every opportunity is orchestrated. Every resource is positioned with intention. God uses people as vessels, timing as a tool, and circumstances as pieces of a larger puzzle to guide you exactly where you need to go. Sometimes the help arrives quietly. Someone gives you advice that shifts your perspective, a stranger offers information that leads you to breakthrough, or a friend encourages you at the exact moment you are ready to quit. Other times, it arrives dramatically. A job offer you didn't apply for, a financial opportunity that appears out of nowhere, or a person stepping in to open a door you couldn't open on your own. These moments are not luck. They are divine fingerprints. God moves through people because elevation is rarely a solitary journey. The blessing you are walking into often requires the hands, voices, and decisions of others. This is why He places you in the right environments, prepares the hearts of those who will help you, and aligns their timing with your destiny. Someone thinks of you unexpectedly. Someone recommends you without being asked. Someone invests in your potential even when you feel unprepared. This is God whispering your name into rooms you haven't entered yet. You may wonder why certain people show up in your life suddenly, offering support, favor, or opportunities. It's because your spirit has shifted into alignment with a new season, and God responds to that shift by bringing in the individuals who carry the next piece of your puzzle. These helpers are not always permanent. Some appear only for a moment, just long enough to lift you into your next level. They are divine appointments disguised as everyday interactions. Even resources appear when God is elevating you. Money comes unexpectedly, information finds you at the right time, doors you never knocked on open wide, ideas flow effortlessly. These resources are confirmations that heaven is invested in your journey. The path ahead requires provision, and God ensures you have what you need precisely when you need it. Elevation is never accidental, it is prepared, it is supported, it is guided from above. And the unexpected help that shows up in your life is the evidence. So when people appear with kindness, when opportunities arrive without explanation, when resources come without struggle, recognize the intervention behind it. God is arranging your steps, preparing your rise, and ushering you into a future that requires support from beyond your own strength. Unexpected help is not a coincidence. It is a divine signal that your life is shifting upward, and heaven is making sure nothing stands in your way. There are moments when life seems to move slower than your prayers, when doors don't open as quickly as you hoped, and when blessings feel like they are taking too long to arrive. In those seasons, it is easy to assume something is wrong, that you are forgotten, overlooked, or somehow off course. But delay is rarely a sign of denial. More often, it is a divine strategy. Timing is not working against you. Timing is being meticulously aligned to maximize your blessing. What feels like waiting is actually preparation, protection, and positioning for something far greater than what you asked for. A miracle is never rushed. A miracle is constructed. And construction takes time. There are layers to your blessing that you cannot see yet. There are people being prepared, circumstances being reshaped, environments being arranged, and opportunities being formed behind the scenes. God is not simply giving you what you desire, He is preparing the version of the blessing that fits the fullness of who you are becoming. A premature blessing can become a burden, and a rushed miracle can collapse under the weight of unpreparedness. That is why divine timing matters. In delay, God is shaping you. He is developing patience, deepening your faith, cleansing your intentions, sharpening your discernment, and enlarging your capacity. You are not being stalled, you are being strengthened. What you are waiting for requires a stronger, wiser, more grounded version of you, a version that can receive without fear, sustain without breaking, and multiply without losing identity. The delay also protects you from unseen dangers. Sometimes the timing is not wrong, the environment is. The people connected to the blessing are not ready yet. The place you desire to go is not stable yet. Or the path you're asking for would lead you into harm if you took it too soon. God sees what you do not see. He knows what you're walking toward long before you arrive. So He slows you down, not to punish you, but to preserve you. Divine delay also aligns opportunities in ways you could never design yourself. Think of all the seemingly random events that must intersect perfectly for a breakthrough to manifest. Someone has to leave a position for you to step into it. A conversation has to take place at the right moment. A door has to unlock from the inside before you can walk through it. These alignments take time, and God orchestrates them with precision.
But always cause used to walk out because
The timing of your blessing is not incidental, it is intentional. And when it arrives, it will not be fragile or temporary, it will be whole, complete, and undeniable. You will look back and realize the waiting was not wasted time, it was essential time. It was the season in which you were being shaped into the person capable of carrying what you asked for. The miracle you seek is not delayed, it is being curated. Every day of waiting is a day of divine preparation. And when the timing finally aligns, the blessing will appear effortlessly, as if it had been waiting for you all along. Desire is one of the most misunderstood spiritual signals in human life. Many people treat their desires as random emotions or fleeting wishes, but true desire, the kind that settles in your heart and refuses to leave, is something far deeper. It is not simply your longing, it is God's whisper. It is the inner confirmation that what you seek has already been prepared for you in the unseen. You do not desire what is impossible for you, you desire what is already aligned with your destiny. The moment a genuine desire is born in you, it carries its own evidence. The longing itself is the proof. You feel pulled toward a future that your outer life has not yet caught up with, yet something within you recognizes it as real. This is because desire is not created by external circumstances. It comes from the divine blueprint within your spirit. It is the soul remembering what God has already designed for you. Desire is God's way of speaking to you without words. It is His method of turning your attention toward the next chapter of your purpose. He places the feeling before the manifestation so your inner world can begin to prepare for what is coming. Every time you feel the tug of a dream, the ache for something more, the quiet yearning for a high level of life, you are not being teased, you are being informed. You might not see the blessing yet, but the blessing sees you. It is already in motion, already forming, already waiting for the right moment to enter your life. Desire is the bridge that connects you to it. The purpose of desire is not to frustrate you, it is to guide you. It influences your decisions, shifts your focus, stretches your imagination, and expands your faith. It prepares you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for the life you are being called into. Many people ignore their desires because they fear disappointment. But the very desire you fear is the one that confirms fulfillment. Fear appears only because the desire touches something sacred, something connected to your true purpose. Desires that come from ego disappear quickly. Desires that come from God remain. They grow, they deepen. They pull you forward even when circumstances seem unchanged. When you embrace your desire, you align yourself with the path prepared for you. You begin to notice opportunities that match your longing. You attract people who support your vision. Your inner state shifts, and life begins rearranging itself to meet your expectation. This is not imagination, it is spiritual law. Desire is never given without the means for fulfillment. The longing is the seed, and God provides everything required to grow it into reality. The timing, the connections, the resources, the ideas, they come because they are already attached to the desire itself. So do not dismiss what you long for. Listen to it, honor it, follow it. The desire placed within you is the evidence that the blessing already exists. What your heart seeks is not a fantasy. It is a preview. And your longing is God's way of saying, "This is yours. Move toward it. I have already prepared it for you." Your desire is not the beginning of the blessing, it is the revelation of it. Recognize it as the spiritual proof that fulfillment is already on its way. There comes a point in every journey when you realize that nothing in your life has been random. The shifts within you, the visions you hold, the doors that closed, the unexpected help that appeared, the delays that shaped you, and the desires that refused to let go, all of it has been divine movement. God has been orchestrating your path with precision, aligning every experience to lift you into the life He prepared long before you even imagined it. You are not walking into your future alone. You are being guided, supported, redirected, and strengthened at every step. And as you look back, you will see the unmistakable pattern of grace woven through your entire story. Everything is working for your good, not by chance, but by divine intention. So step into your next chapter with confidence. Trust the unseen hand that has never stopped moving things in your favor. Believe that the best days of your life are not far away. They are already unfolding. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And thank you for allowing these words to speak life into your spirit. May you walk forward, knowing that God's favor is already ahead of you. Beloved, there comes a moment in every life when heaven whispers, "Now." Not tomorrow, not someday, now. The atmosphere around you has shifted. The currents of divine movement are no longer waiting for your permission, they are flowing in your direction. What you once prayed for in tears is being arranged in your favor with precision. The move of God has begun. You may not see it yet with your natural eyes, but deep within something is stirring. The invisible hand of grace is positioning people, places, and circumstances to honor the faith you've held in silence. Every closed door was not rejection, it was redirection. Every season of stillness was the womb of your new beginning. God is not coming. He has already moved. The evidence of His movement begins in your awareness. When you accept within yourself that everything is working for your good, you join the current of divine favor. What was once an obstacle becomes a bridge. What was once loss transforms into lesson. The law of the Spirit is simple. What you accept as true within must appear without. So receive this now, not as a wish, not as a hope, but as a settled reality. You are favored. You are chosen. You are the vessel through which God's movement expresses itself. Every limitation that once defined you is dissolving. The unseen power of divine intention is rewriting your story. The move of God is not something happening to you. It is something unfolding through you. Pause for a moment and feel it. The stillness in your spirit is confirmation that heaven has already answered. The joy that rises within you is not imagination, it is evidence. When your inner world aligns with divine truth, the outer world has no choice but to mirror it. You are stepping into divine timing. You are entering the flow where effort ends and alignment begins. The delay was only the gathering of strength. The silence was the preparation for your sound. The darkness was the canvas for the light now bursting forth in you. So lift your head. Expect good news. Walk as one who already possesses the promise. Speak as one whose words are charged with divine authority. For when you declare that everything is working in your favor, you are not making a request. You are revealing what heaven has already decreed. This is your confirmation. The move of God has begun. Not tomorrow, not next year, but now. Receive it in faith. Receive it in gratitude. Receive it in stillness. Everything you have walked through was leading you to this moment, a moment of divine favor, divine order, divine manifestation. The universe has heard your faith. Heaven has answered your cry. Receive it now. The divine shift has already begun. Whether you sense it or not, something sacred and unseen is working quietly on your behalf. The invisible hand of God is rearranging the pieces of your life, aligning every detail, every encounter, every circumstance in perfect harmony with your destiny. What once looked like chaos was never disorder. It was divine choreography. You may have felt delays, detours, and disappointments, but all of them were a part of the greater movement of heaven that has now entered a season of manifestation. There are moments when it seems as though nothing is happening, when your prayers echo in silence and your faith feels like it's standing still. Yet even then, God is working behind the curtain of your awareness. The shift is never loud. It begins in the quiet spaces of your soul, in the unseen realm where faith gives birth to reality. You may not notice the transformation at first because the move of God often starts small, like the first light of dawn that slowly overtakes the darkness. This divine shift is not about striving or chasing, it's about alignment. It's about coming into harmony with the truth that you are already within the flow of God's favor. The unseen hand does not struggle to bless you. It simply arranges the path so that what is meant for you finds its way with ease. The opportunities that seemed lost, the relationships that seemed broken, the seasons that seemed wasted, all are being rewoven into something meaningful. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned. Think of how seeds grow beneath the soil. For a time, there is no evidence of life above the surface. Yet everything essential is happening below. Roots are forming, strength is being built, and potential is awakening. That's how divine movement works. Just because you cannot see it does not mean it is not real. In truth, the unseen is often more powerful than the visible. The shift begins internally, through belief, through acceptance, through quiet confidence that all things are working together for your good. You are not waiting for God to begin. He has already begun. The moment you believed, the moment you chose to trust even when you didn't understand, something shifted. Every thought of faith, every word spoken in gratitude, every moment of surrender added momentum to the unseen current moving in your favor. The hand of God is not idle. It is active, adjusting timelines, aligning hearts, opening doors you cannot yet see. Soon what has been working in secret will become visible. The conversations you need, the connections you've prayed for, the opportunities designed just for you, they will unfold naturally because they have been divinely arranged. Your only task is to remain still in trust, to live as if the miracle has already happened. When you rest in this knowing, peace becomes your confirmation. The divine shift is not coming, it is here, and it is moving every detail of your life toward the fulfillment of divine purpose. Everything that appears in your life is first conceived within. The outer world is a mirror, faithfully reflecting the images, emotions, and beliefs you nurture in the hidden chambers of your mind. The inner vision creates the outer reality. What you accept as true in faith must one day take form. Your circumstances are not random, they are the visible expression of your invisible convictions. The moment you see clearly within, your world begins to reorganize itself to match that inner sight. The divine process of creation always begins in the unseen. Every dream, every answered prayer, every breakthrough is first born in imagination, through the quiet conviction that what you desire already exists in spirit. Faith is not merely hoping for something, it is perceiving it inwardly until it becomes undeniable. When your inner awareness accepts a truth so completely that it feels real, creation begins its sacred work of reflection. The world outside bends to the pattern you hold within. If you look around and see limitation, you are only witnessing the residue of old beliefs. You are never stuck, you are simply observing yesterday's vision. But when you dare to shift the image within, to see abundance instead of lack, healing instead of pain, victory instead of defeat, you set in motion a new cycle of manifestation. The universe cannot resist the pull of a focused mind. The unseen power that governs all things responds to the vibration of certainty. Your inner acceptance is the birthplace of divine manifestation. This means that nothing new can emerge in your life until it has first been welcomed in your imagination. To receive something spiritually is to claim it inwardly before evidence appears. It is to live from the end, to think, feel, and act as though what you desire is already accomplished. This inner alignment invites the outer world to conform. The moment you stop doubting and start dwelling in the feeling of the answered prayer, you shift realities. The greatest secret of faith is emotional agreement. When your emotions and thoughts unite in harmony, creation is inevitable. That's why doubt delays and fear distorts. They divide your energy. But when you hold a single, unwavering image of good, when you feel gratitude before the blessing arrives, you open the door for divine power to flow without resistance. The invisible becomes visible because you have made it real within yourself. Understand this deeply. You are not waiting on circumstances to change. Circumstances are waiting on you to see differently. The kingdom of God is within you. It is the realm of perfect creation where every possibility already exists. Your task is not to force or struggle, but to envision, to believe, and to emotionally dwell in the outcome you desire. Soon the world around you will echo the song of your inner vision. People will call it coincidence, but you will know it was faith shaping reality. The outer world is nothing more than the canvas, and your imagination is the brush, guided by divine power. What you hold in faith within must appear without, for God always fulfills the image conceived in the heart that dares to believe. You are standing in a season of favor. This is not just another moment in time, it is a divine intersection where everything that once seemed delayed or denied is being transformed into evidence of God's perfect timing. The struggles, the waiting, the unanswered prayers, they were not punishments but preparations. Every disappointment was shaping your character, refining your faith, and aligning you for what could not come before its appointed hour. What felt like stagnation was divine strategy. Heaven was preparing you for release. Favor does not always announce itself with noise. It often comes quietly after a long silence. You may have endured seasons where doors refuse to open, where your efforts seemed fruitless, and where the promises of God felt distant. Yet in those moments, something sacred was happening within you. You were being strengthened to carry what is now being released. God does not withhold to punish, He withholds to protect and prepare. If it had come earlier, you might not have had the capacity to sustain it. But now you are ready. The season you are stepping into carries grace that is no longer delayed. What was once resisted will now flow freely. What was once hidden will now be revealed. This is the moment where all things begin to make sense. The pain, the pauses, the pruning, the lessons learned in your wilderness were not wasted. They are the foundation of your wisdom. Every tear watered the soil of your breakthrough. Every setback cleared the path for your elevation. You were never losing time. Time was working for you. This is the nature of divine favor. It arrives when your heart and heaven come into alignment. The season of favor is not determined by external conditions, but by internal readiness. When your faith matures into trust, you no longer chase blessings. Blessings begin to chase you. You become magnetized to opportunity because your spirit now vibrates at the frequency of divine order. Look around you with new eyes. The very situations that once brought you pain are now revealing purpose. The people who walked away created space for those who are meant to walk in. The dreams that seemed to die are being resurrected with greater clarity and power. Nothing was lost. Everything was being rearranged for this divine unveiling. You are no longer waiting for your time. Your time has found you. Step boldly into this season. Expect doors to open with ease. Expect favor to follow your obedience. Expect restoration that exceeds your imagination. The weight you carried has turned into wings. The divine delay has ended, and the release has begun. You are standing in the manifestation of everything your faith has endured for. This is not coincidence, this is covenant. You have entered a divine season where grace works faster than effort, and where everything, without exception, begins to work in your favor. Faith is the bridge between promise and manifestation. It is the invisible path that connects what has been spoken by God to what will soon be seen in your life. Every promise exists already in spirit, waiting for your faith to bring it into form. Faith is not hoping that something might happen. It is the quiet inner conviction that it already has. It is the unwavering awareness that the word spoken over your life cannot return void. The moment you truly believe, the unseen world begins to respond, rearranging circumstances, people, and opportunities to fulfill your expectation. The universe is not random. It is responsive. It bends to the vibration of belief. The entire structure of reality is designed to reflect consciousness, and faith is the language that communicates with the divine order of creation. When you believe, you set in motion a process that cannot be seen with natural eyes, but is deeply felt in spirit. It is as though heaven and earth begin to collaborate to make what you hold within a living reality without. Every promise requires a bridge, and that bridge is built one thought at a time. Doubt tears down what faith constructs, but every moment you choose trust over fear, you lay another plank across the unseen divide. Faith transforms waiting into certainty, and uncertainty into peace. It allows you to rest before the miracle appears because it knows that the outcome is inevitable. Belief is not passive, it is creative. It is the spiritual act of agreeing with divine truth until it becomes substance. When you hold an inner vision with unwavering faith, the outer world has no choice but to conform. Circumstances may resist for a time, but resistance only tests the strength of your conviction. Faith never looks to appearances for validation. It looks inward, where the promise is already alive. The moment you believe, something shifts in the atmosphere around you. People are moved into position. Conversations unfold at just the right time. Doors open where there were none before. You cannot see all the details, but the orchestration is perfect. What once seemed like coincidence is actually divine synchronization, responding to your inner state. The universe is listening to the song of your faith, and it echoes that melody back to you in form. Faith bridges the gap between what you have heard and what you will hold. It is not built in comfort, it is forged in uncertainty. When everything around you says impossible, faith whispers already done. It stands firm when logic fails, and it rejoices before evidence appears. So stand on the bridge with confidence. Let your heart rest in assurance that what was promised is already on its way. The same power that formed galaxies is working in your favor. The moment you believe, the universe reorganizes itself, and every element of creation begins to cooperate with your destiny. Faith does not wait for proof, it creates it. To receive before you see is the essence of true faith. It is the posture of a soul that no longer waits for visible evidence to believe in what God has already promised. Receiving from God is not an act of begging or striving, it is a state of being, a quiet inner knowing that what you have asked for is already accomplished in the unseen. To receive is to shift your awareness, to live mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in the reality of what is already yours, even before it takes shape in the physical world. Everything in creation begins in the invisible. The spiritual realm is the source, and the material world is the reflection. When you pray, you are not asking God to create something new, you are aligning yourself with what He has already prepared. The moment you ask in faith, it exists, but it exists first in spirit. Your role is not to wait anxiously for it to appear, but to dwell in the feeling of already having it. That feeling is the magnetic force that draws it into manifestation. To receive before you see is to act as if the promise has already been fulfilled. It means giving thanks before the answer arrives, celebrating before the victory is visible, and walking with confidence even when nothing seems to have changed. This is not self-deception, it is divine alignment. You are choosing to identify with the truth of what God has spoken, rather than the illusion of what your senses temporarily perceive. The physical world lags behind spiritual reality, but it must eventually catch up to what you consistently hold within. Your emotions are the signal you send to creation. When you feel joy, gratitude, and certainty as though the manifestation were already complete, you communicate faith to the universe. That faith becomes the bridge that allows the unseen to flow into the seen. The opposite is also true. When you dwell in fear, lack, or doubt, you delay what is already yours, because your emotional state contradicts the truth of abundance. To receive before you see is to let your inner world lead and your outer world follow. This is why gratitude is such a powerful force. Gratitude assumes possession. It says, "It is already mine." When you give thanks for what you cannot yet touch, you proclaim that you have received it in spirit, and the outer world is compelled to reflect that truth. Faith does not ask, when will it happen? Faith declares, it has happened, and I rejoice. Everything you desire already exists in a higher dimension, waiting for your recognition. The moment you accept it inwardly, the process of manifestation begins outwardly. You do not need to chase or convince, you only need to align and allow. When your mind and heart live in the reality of the fulfilled promise, you have already received. And soon, what you once believed in silence will appear before your eyes, not because it was newly created, but because you finally chose to see what had always been yours. You are the evidence of the move of God. You do not have to look to the sky for signs or wait for something dramatic to prove that heaven is working on your behalf. The proof is already within you. The change in your heart, the renewal of your mind, the quiet strength that now sustains you where fear once ruled. Transformation is not just a sign of divine activity, it is the move of God made visible through you. Every shift in your thinking, every release of bitterness, every rise in faith is heaven at work in human form. There was a time when you doubted, when you questioned if your prayers were heard, if your waiting had meaning. But look at you now, standing stronger, seeing clearer, loving deeper. That is not coincidence, that is evidence. The presence of peace in situations that once shook you, the confidence that replaces anxiety, the light that has returned to your eyes, all of it is the mark of divine movement. God's greatest miracles are often internal before they are external. Before He changes your surroundings, He transforms your perception. You are no longer the same person you were in your previous season. What used to break you now builds you. What used to scare you now strengthens you. This is what happens when heaven moves through a human life. It doesn't just alter circumstances, it awakens identity. The move of God begins as awareness. It is the realization that you are not separate from divine power, but an expression of it. The evidence is the expansion of your consciousness, the birth of compassion, the awakening of purpose. The world often looks for miracles in signs and wonders, but the greatest miracle is a changed heart. When love replaces anger, when peace conquers fear, when faith silences doubt, heaven has already touched earth. You are walking proof that divine grace is real. Every act of forgiveness, every moment of courage, every prayer whispered in trust becomes testimony that God is not distant. He is moving through you, shaping you from the inside out. Even when the outer world seems unchanged, the transformation within is announcing a new reality. You are becoming aligned with heaven's rhythm, and that inner harmony will soon manifest outwardly. The peace you now feel will attract peace around you. The clarity you now possess will order your steps. The strength you carry will manifest as success, restoration, and new beginnings. The outer expression always follows the inner transformation. So do not minimize what God is doing in you because it does not yet look spectacular to others. The quiet work of grace is the most powerful of all. You are becoming the living message that God is active, that redemption is possible, that light always wins. The shift within your spirit is the sound of heaven moving in your life. You are the evidence of divine reality unfolding, living proof that the move of God has already begun and that His favor is resting upon you now. Beloved, as we bring this message to a close, remember this truth. The move of God has already begun. You are not waiting for your season has found you. Every delay was preparation, every battle was training, and every prayer was planting a seed that is now bearing fruit. The unseen hand of God has been guiding every step, turning what once seemed like detours into divine direction. You are now walking in a flow where everything is aligning in your favor. The shift within you has unlocked the blessings around you. Faith has built the bridge. Your inner vision has shaped your reality, and your willingness to receive before you see has opened the door to manifestation. You are living proof that heaven is active, that miracles are real, and that divine timing is never late. So stand boldly in this moment. Let gratitude rise in your heart. Speak life over your destiny and walk with assurance that everything is working for your good. The evidence of God's move is not somewhere far away. It is within you, breathing, transforming, expanding. Thank you for joining in this message of faith and awakening. May you continue to walk in divine favor, see through the eyes of spirit, and live each day knowing that the move of God is alive in you, now and always.